Okay.
Who am I talking with?
Hi, my name's Colin LaChance.
And what do you do, Colin?
I am the CEO of vLex Canada.
Okay.
We built a legal information platform that combines latest technology used around the world by vLex with Canadian case law that had been developed over decades by the former Maritime Law Book.
So how long did that go? What's the history on that?
Well, Maritime Law Book started as a regional case publisher in 1969, and in 2016 they decided to shut down. And that would leave a big gap in the competitive legal information market. So what we want to do is bring some competitive discipline to Lexis and Westlaw in Canada.
Okay, that's an interesting way to describe it. What do you call it? Something discipline?
Competitive discipline.
Competitive discipline.
So they have fantastic products, but what Canadian legal researchers know better than anything is that everything that is created by these guys shows up in Canada 3 or 4 years after it's been rolled out in the US.
Interesting.
So the world has moved a lot faster, and Canadian lawyers and law librarians aren't benefiting from it yet. So we're trying to change that.
How did you get involved in the legal space?
Well, I was the CEO of CANLI, Canadian Legal Information Institute,
right.
The most used free legal information resource in Canada. And from that seat, I got good exposure to the needs and demands and the nature of the market. And so past couple of years I've been working mostly with startups in legal tech. And so confluence of events allowed me to marry what I did before with the way the world is moving now.
How did you get interested, personally in things that relate to, legal startups, legal tech? What do you find interesting about it?
Sure. Well, my background as a lawyer has always been in technology. Worked with phone companies, always exposed to engineers, the latest in technology. And you can see in law that we have been several years behind where the rest of the business world is. So that kind of exposure, that opportunity, and then just to nerd out a little bit, in 2010 I decided to get a master's in law and technology. And that's what shifted me away from the phone company business and going headlong into legal information and legal tech.
And you're here at AALL.
That's right.
What's your goal with the conference?
I have two goals. The American Association of Law Libraries attracts a lot of Canadians.
Of all things.
Of all things. So I'm here meeting with a lot of who we hope to be our Canadian customers. But also our association with vLex, the international platform, means that we have vLex partners and potential clients and so on here. So organizations like Justice, Hein Online, and Casemaker are people who partner with vLex in other parts of the business around the world. So it's a great opportunity to meet our partners, both current and future and prospective partners as well.
When you talk about vLex around the world, what do you mean by that?
Well, vLex began in Spain in 1999. So much as the origin story of legal tech startup companies is around a lawyer who decides there has to be a better way, two brothers, Luis and Angel Faust, experienced that same thing in 1999 in Spain. Luis is a lawyer, Angel is a mathematician. So they found a way to build the better mousetrap for legal information. They're a major competitor in Spain and quite significant throughout all of Latin America. They had recently done a deal with Case Text as well to get the American content. So now adding Canadian in, they are the only legal publisher in the world who has, as they like to say, content from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego. The entirety of the Americas is covered within their collection. 100 million documents in all, covering over 100 countries.
So what we're doing is we're starting to bring law open in some capacity, as opposed to have it bound by maybe two large companies as we see them in the States and Canada.
Absolutely. So the competition in Canada has been historically dominated by the two large players, but yet you look around the world, there are significant players in other markets, and there's certainly an opportunity to bring the best of the world into North America. And so working with vLex is one way we're doing that.
And then I think it's public that you're working with Justia on some things too.
That's right. Yeah, we're really thrilled that Tim Stanley and the team at Justia are participating in the venture. So Tim's on our board of directors in Canada, and they're an investor as well. So we have a Canadian company with a multi-decade pedigree that's bringing in people like Tim, people like Luis into our board. In fact, one of our other board members, Canadian, a guy named Jordan Furlong, who's got a book out, Law as a Buyer's Market. He's a futurist as well. So we find ourselves very fortunate in that we have a leadership base of people who know not only the law, the technology, but the market and where the clients want to go and the pressures that they face.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking about people that are just driven by free law.
Yes.
And in the case of Tim Stanley, Stacy Stern,
Yes.
created FindLaw, and now Justia, are not only driven by it, but they have the technology backgrounds and force to be able to do some great things.
Absolutely. So with vLex Canada, 3 weeks ago we released vLex Canada Open. So all of our primary law is available for free, and it's supported by all of the high-end tools and personalization features that are going to be part of our future paid platform. So we take it as a given that everyone, lawyers, librarians, the public, should have free access to primary law. So with that as a basis, we want to build value into what we're delivering. So we're going to be combining important secondary source material. We're going to be, through our APIs and other things, integrating with other independent publishers to create a value chain that provides collectively, like I said, that competitive discipline that certainly has been missing from the Canadian market and would probably benefit in other markets as well.
Yeah, and what's cool is we follow this whole thing. It's almost like following open source software.
Yes.
So I mean, yesterday Dan Katz was talking about having, AI be open source with this product, and so it's the last mile that he'll charge for the services on top of that. But the core should be free.
Absolutely, and I mean the explanation that Dan Katz put out about Lex Predict and what they're doing there is a great example of separating what could and should be free to facilitate greater access and innovation, and what should be valued and worth a buck when you're selling it on a commercial basis.
Yeah, I mean, and just sitting there with Katz and then talking to him afterwards, I said, great language for me to be able to use on the publishing side. Of course, WordPress is free, but we're not going to hide from that. It's the last mile that where you add the services, and you're talking about the same thing with research, the way you present it, the way that people can use it, providing more to the equation that law firms need, libraries need. It's very cool. Thank you.
Thank you.